What's up, guys? It's been a while. Uh, so, got busy with life and work and the club and everything else. Uh, so, everybody's going to church. It's early Sunday morning. I wanted to do a video, uh, one that's kind of bounced around my head a few times. I never decided to put it out, but I also got to do a little bit of work on this. So I figured two birds, one stone. Got a wiring gremlin in here somewhere. I got a light that keeps going out, and my war bonnet apparently is supposed to light up, but it only does if the wheels are full locked to the left. So I've got some connection in there that's not quite getting it right. And for anybody that's ever wondered how the front end of these bikes come apart, because it's a little weird. Because Polaris can't do anything easy. But yeah. And for everybody that's going to make the comment, oh, you got rid of your Harley because of wiring. I got rid of my Harley for a lot of fucking reasons. Like, doing 300 plus miles on a Dyna sucks. Doing 300 plus miles on this thing is nice. Like, I can get home, my back doesn't hurt, my ass isn't sore, my legs aren't asleep, my upper back isn't screaming at me. No, I'm old, I have back issues. I have a lot of back issues. So, I love this bike. Wiring is something that just, especially when you add things like an aftermarket light up war bonnet and shit like that, something might have gotten on loose. Big fucking deal. We'll figure it out. Headlight still works fine. At least that works. And I can keep on going down the road. But yeah, I wanted to talk about the times I've laid a bike down. And we're not going to talk about dirt bikes, because anybody that's ever ridden dirt bikes has wrecked a dirt bike. It all goes along with riding dirt bikes. If you've not been under a dirt bike, then you were a pussy in the trail. Deal with it. So, let's get to this, and we'll talk about one minor confession I have, and the times I've laid over my bike. Let's get to it. Okay, so first things first, to pull one of these off, you need a 4 and a 5 Allen T-handle set. Trust me, T-handles make it a shit ton easier. And a magnetic bowl to put all your shit in. Remove the cowl by removing the 4 inner bolts first and take the 2 top ones out last. Found that out the hard way. You take those 2 out first. When you remove that last inner bearing bolt, it'll just fall the fuck off. So the first minor confession, I've talked many times that my first bike, and I'm going to use that word loosely here because I know I'm going to get lit up in the comments. It's not a fucking bike. It's got 2 wheels and a motor. Go fuck yourself. My first bike, I'll put a picture here in just a second, was a 1984 Honda Elite 80 scooter. I love that bike. I took it everywhere. I was 21 years old. I know, I was 20 years old, I think. And didn't have a car. Kind of like now. And I bought that thing. The gas gauge only worked from half to full. That was it. So, it was interesting. And it only held like a gallon and a half or something like that. But lived across the street from gas station, basically. Came out one morning, saw that I was only on half a tank, popped the gas cap off, looked inside, and there was maybe a slosh of gasoline left in the bottom of that thing. So I knew I had enough to get to the gas station. And, God, they couldn't have put these in worse places. I hauled ass over there. As I'm about to pull into the gas station, I hit something slick in the road. And the bike went from standing up straight, going into the gas station, to completely turning sideways, still standing up straight. And I'm headed towards like a 3-4 foot deep ditch. And the only thought going through my mind is this is really gonna fucking hurt. So I just casually leaned the bike over, and when I bought it, I'm a lazy bastard. It had a basket on the back of it. And I hadn't taken the basket off yet. And I was wearing a backpack. Well, the backpack got hung up in the basket when the bike laid over and just drug my happy ass along for the ride. Chewed through my pants, chewed through my hoodie. I wasn't wearing gloves, so I road rashed up the sides of my hands. I was doing about 25, 30 miles an hour maybe. And yeah, I came to a full stop just before falling off into the ditch. I'm bruised up. My ego hurts. One dude down the far end of the pumps screams out, "You all right?" That's it. That's all the help I got. Picked the bike back up, walked it over to the gas pump, and filled it up with gas and went on about my merry day. And, well, I had to go back home and change first because I just completely shredded one arm of my hoodie. And I had to bandage my wounds. So that was my first bike and that accident. We'll get back to it here in a minute. I'm going to pull this fairing off and we'll continue. Okay, so we got it apart. Before I show you what the issue is, and it's like the dumbest fucking... Anyway, so when I finally got older and was able to afford another bike, because the scooter ended up just taking a shit, and I literally sold it for what I bought it for after it had taken a shit. I paid nothing for it, literally. I bought my 1986 Suzuki Intruder 800. 700, sorry, 700. Absolutely love that fucking bike. That was my first like real road bike that I rode all the damn time. And things that no one ever told me is that yellow painted lines and those big arrows, I'll show a picture of the turn only this way, are slick as fuck when it rains, like ice. And the first time I did a U-turn in a parking lot while it was raining, I ran over one of those yellow lines and dropped the bike bigger than shit. And it wasn't one of those like slow motion going down things. No, one minute I was upright and the next minute I'm laying on the fucking ground. Luckily enough, I was doing like maybe 5 miles an hour. So no injury, no bruises, no nothing. Just, roughed up ego. And of course, the pumps were full of people and everything else, and everyone saw me drop my fucking bike. And you're never going to drop your bike when no one's around. It's always going to be in front of somebody. And then the other time I was coming up to a red light, turning into the street that goes to my neighborhood, and went over one of those arrows and at about 10 miles an hour. And it's just, well, that's why I always say buy ugly bikes as your first bike. You're going to fucking drop it. It just happens. You're going to get embarrassed. You're whatever. Fuck it. Pick your ego up, put it back in, fucking roll on. But yeah, those are the 3 times that I've dropped a motorcycle while going down the road. And it's something we all do. And I love it when I talk to people. Like, I've never dropped my bike ever. You've never forgot to put the kickstand down. You've never hit the start button on an older Harley not knowing it was in fucking gear. And it lunged forward. Dropped the dyno that way. Sitting at a fucking gas pump. Dude came up and was talking to me, and I got out of sync with turning the bike off and shit. When I went back out to get on it, I'm putting my stuff together, put my gloves on, and reached up and hit the start button to start the bike. And it jumped forward. I didn't have any hands on the handlebars, and over it went. And when I stepped away from the bike came down. It's hard to, but the bike came down and landed on my heel, and my toes were all flexed. And it luckily enough, the bike didn't hit the ground. The side of the mirror did, and the edge of the handlebar. No big deal. But it was sitting on my foot, and trying to pick the bike back up off my own foot to set it back on the ground so I can get better footing to pick the bike back up was interesting in itself. But we'll show you what's going on here real fast. And I'm just going to zip tie this back together. All they did was electric tape it. And it was like the loosest wrap of electrical tape. So I had to pull the valance off the side where the covers the brake caliper, so I could trace this wire all the way back up. But literally when they installed it, they broke the clip. And instead of like doing something to reinforce to hold that clip in place, they just put the loosest wrap of electrical wire or electrical tape I've ever seen, and then kinked the wire over for some reason when they put the zip tie on it, which probably pulled it a little loose. So it was getting connection every now and then, not all the time. Shit you got to look for or expect when you buy a used motorcycle. I'm going to do a whole video on something else I had an issue with this bike, but they are fixing it, or fixed it, I should say. But it took a little bit of a "you told me you fucking did this and you didn't" moment. So I hope you guys got at least a little bit of a chuckle out of my first video back. I know I'm back to driveway blogging. We'll do ride videos, don't worry. I still haven't set up the new Harley helmet that I got, which is still fucking hilarious. And no, Mike, it doesn't pinch my ears. It fits perfect. It fits absolutely perfect. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Got a little bit of a laugh out of my dumbass, especially wrecking a fucking scooter. So, till next time, guys. You guys ride safe. Keep on trucking.